Okay, welcome back to the Naija Filmmaker, a podcast for us to talk about Nigerian filmmakers, their films, and how it can build a diverse and functional industry. I'm your host, Selegot. On this episode, my guest is Ore Badmus. She is an actor, producer, and educator. Over the years, she has starred in TV shows like Tinsel and Riona. We talk about the business of acting, working with kids, and what she's working on. If you're a new listener, you're welcome and I hope you enjoy. Hi Ore, you're welcome to the Naija Filmmaker.
Hi Silly. Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, can you introduce yourself?
Oh my god. Whew. My name is Ore Badmus. I'm an actor, writer, producer. I don't know. that's
Educator.
Yes, an educator. Yeah. General overall creative. So
can you tell us how you got started in the film industry?
Okay. So as far as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a performer. So be it dance, I dance as well, and I choreograph. So as far as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a performer. I always enjoyed performing, but I wasn't sure what exactly it was going to be in the performing space. But then as time went on, I sort of found a niche in acting and dance. So when I got into uni, my dad really supported me. I wanted to study theatre arts, but my mom was having none of it. She wanted me to do law, but I found myself in English. But when I got into school, I joined, I was always in the theatre arts department, doing stuff with them, contributing and whatnot. My dad always supported me all the way from Lagos. He would send me audition notices, and that was so I think he sent me the one for Tinsel, but I really didn't pay much attention to it. Then we went on a long strike and I went home, and then one day I was cleaning and I heard on radio the Tinsel audition notice, and I'm like, okay. So I called up my girls, let's do this, let's give it a try. I'm quite an impatient person. So when I got there and I saw the crowd, I was like, yep, this is not for me. Time to go home. My friends are like, oh, just stay. And then we saw like other people, auditions in Lagos, you see so many people, so yeah, so I waited, but I didn't audition that day. Had to come back. Then I went back the next day, auditioned. School. So prior to then, I had done a couple of stuff in uni, but nothing like professional. And then some weeks down the line, I got a call from Africa Magic, to come for casting. After the casting, I got the role of Amarachi Ene's sister. And that's how my professional acting career started. This was in 2011. And that's what kicked it off.
Okay. So was your role like a one-time thing, or you appeared in multiple episodes?
I appeared in multiple episodes, but they were not initially. They were back to back, but it was centered around the storyline of Ene and Trix getting married, and marriage it involves families, extended families. So which was how myself and the person you guys know as Timini now, he played my brother back then. So that's how we were introduced, the siblings of the couple. Yeah, so initially it was back to back when the whole marriage thing was in the works. Then it sort of spaced out a bit. I think so. 2011 it was back to back. 2012 a bit back to back. 2013 I don't think I got a call at all. In 2013, 2014 I got a call, but it was like a one-off. 2015, but I couldn't go for the one in 2014 because I was serving. I was in Bayelsa. But then in 2015 I got another call, and that was the last call I got. And
Okay, so like starting on Tinsel, how was it for you? Was it like really intimidating?
I would say yes, yes, but I don't think intimidating would be the word. I would say I was just very self-conscious. I would remember that when I come to Lagos for shoots and we're on set and these people around me being role, the actors, I was just always into myself, in my shell, very self-conscious. I mean, a couple of laughs here and there, but I just never bloomed, right? Yeah. And sometimes I say that I wished I had that opportunity now, because now I can fully own my space, own myself, own my presence, and I feel like I would have maybe harnessed that opportunity better now. But then I was just always on my own. I never really mixed with people, even the production guys. It was just, yeah, hello, or maybe I needed somewhere to sleep over, because I used to come from school, which is, my school was is in Ife, right? Ocean State. So I would have to come maybe a day before to sleep over at the studio. So yes, I wish that maybe that opportunity came now. I would have been able to navigate that better.
Okay. So you are a drama teacher at middle
group. I was, yeah.
Okay, what did that entail?
Okay. I basically was responsible for teaching drama to nursery school kids. I remember when the person who brought me in told me I would have to teach drama to 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds. In my head, I was like, what do they know about drama? How do I even teach them drama? But I did a couple of research and I'm like, okay, let's try this out. So teach drama. Another responsibility was to help the teachers with their lesson plans, inculcate storytelling into their lesson plans to make it more exciting, so you don't just go straight into teaching ABC. They're babies. Yeah. So you have to look for creative ways to teach them these things. So I came in there. I also organized plays for the school. So as time went on, I sort of stretched my tentacles across the whole school. So I was employed basically for nursery, but then over the years I started doing stuff with primary and secondary, and then the most recent achievement was last year when I directed a musical, Annie the Musical. So we had like an adaptation of Annie the Musical. Yeah, so I directed that, and I had over 40 student actors, dancers, students who sang. So I think that's like major thing. It was crazy, having to juggle their school timetable with finding time to rehearse, getting the children to even attend rehearsals, working on school management for budget and all of that, because I also co-produced, but my major work was to direct. So
okay, so what happens when you show up in the class trying to teach nursery students, teach them drama? Can you tell us?
Oh, I miss my babies. Okay, so first and foremost, you yourself as the teacher, you have to be animated, you have to be dramatic, and it sort of helped that I'm a dramatic person. So my time with the kids are always fun. So you could either dress up, so when you're entering the class, you're already getting the attention from the door because you're dressed in some costume, some weird costume or something. You use songs as well, rhymes to get the attention. You have to be larger than life. You have to get the attention, because 3-year-olds, before you know it, they're already tweaking somebody's hair or playing with some random stuff. So you have to be larger than life. So I have to, be extra dramatic. And for people who know me, they know that I'm dramatic. And then if I have to be extra dramatic, that's, something. So that's how I sort of connected with the kids. I used a lot of resources, animated resources, hands-on resources as well. So basically, what I was teaching them, stories. We had story time. Then we would dress up as these characters. We would try to link this stories to everyday life. To also link them to their normal, let me not say normal, to other subjects like English, math, and whatnot. So yes, and then that's about it.
Yeah, so you did nursery up to primary. What did you kind of learn about kids? How were most of them? Were they like really excited for it, or there are people that just weren't
into it?
Yeah.
So for the nursery kids, they're mostly into it because it's fun. And in my school, we were always about learning through fun. Right? So my classes were always fun. The kids always looked forward to it. It was an avenue for them to play and not be told, oh, you're shouting, or indoor voice, or don't be rough, or put the costumes back. They could, in my class, they could be themselves, even though it's a controlled environment still. That's for the nursery kids. For primary, they're older kids, but they still, also because once you cross over from nursery to primary, the activities that you would do or you would have done when you were in nursery, those fun activities in quotes, they're now reduced. Classes are getting a bit more serious. Your timetable is a bit more packed. So if there's an avenue to do something around drama, around dance, you have kids that are excited to do it, because now they don't have that, they're not as they don't have that much opportunity to do those things anymore like that, except for their clubs. So if maybe we're preparing for some play, they're excited, oh, Miss Badmus, choose me, pick me, and then you also have some that they're just they don't really care, they're not interested. And from the get-go, I don't try to force them, because your interest matters a lot. Then secondary, fun memories with those ones. Secondary, you have kids who are interested still, but then these guys are almost adults, right? So how you would relate to them, how you would get their attention would be very different. I take them, I don't see them as my students alone, I take them as my friends. So even when I'm saying, okay, do this, I approach it from a place of, what do you think? How would you want to approach this? So I allow them tell me, okay, I think based on this character, I feel that this is what he or she would have done in this situation. Like, okay, nice. Okay, how about we try it this way? Or, okay, I like that. Let me see what that looks like. Then also, once they are off. There's really nothing you can do about it. I had a child, when we're rehearsing for Annie, I had a boy. Oh, my goodness. There was nothing we didn't do, we didn't say. We called his parents. His parents were like, no, they want him to be part of the production. He will be serious. They've talked to him. Blah, 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 blah. Nothing. Like, there was nothing we could have done. He just was not serious about it, and just had to let it go. And then you have those ones that they will be the ones to chase you down. If for some reason you're not available, you're running late, they'll come look for you in your class. Oh, Miss Badmus, we are waiting. Everybody's waiting. They would help you organize others. They'll assist with props and all of that. So they're different categories.
Okay. So let's talk about your acting, more like your more recent work. So you played a role on Riona. Can you talk about that?
The role. Ebieshua. Oh, I miss her. I miss playing her. So, Ebieshua, I don't know if I should say is or was. Ebieshua was she's dead now. Was. Ebishua was the head of the palace kitchen in Oyomere Kingdom. So Riona is an Ishekiri story. Yeah. So Ebishua, head of palace kitchen. Her husband left her because she couldn't conceive. So she dedicated her life to serving the palace. Then there was this mysterious child who was abandoned by his foster mom. And then somehow Ebishua came across this child, and she's a very compassionate person, and she took it upon herself to take the boy in and look after him and train him as her own child, also considering the fact that she has been unable to conceive herself. So I was like, okay, I'll take him in, care for him, and do right by him. And yeah, he brought her a lot of pain because I found myself playing the character. I found myself crying a lot, kneeling a lot to beg maybe a king
was it in the script
or queen.
You're just reacting to?
No, like in the script, because he will have done something and they are threatening to throw both of us out of the palace, and I'm having to beg. What's that? Oh God, I'm trying to remember how to say sorry in Ishekiri. I can't remember right now, but you beg, oh, we're so sorry, give us another chance. He would do better and all of that. The boy happens to be a god, so God in human form, so he hears voices, so he just reacts, and he has to like make sacrifices and kills chickens and goats and all of that. So that puts him and Ebishua in trouble. So I found myself crying a lot over the boy. Just like it was like the moment he came into her life, he was supposed to make it beautiful, right? Yeah. But it was just one thing after the other, but before she died, things sort of settled a bit, because the boy then ended up being the personal servant to the crown prince. Yeah. So that sort of gave her a bit of, and then she found joy in that oh, my son is the personal servant to the crown prince and all of that. And then the writers did their thing and she died. I am still salty. Yeah, but I miss her so much. She was like the voice of reason in the palace. So where you have other slaves that acting out and trying to rebel and do all those things, and she's like the mother hen of the slaves, the servants in the palace, who calls everybody to order, who says, oh no, don't do this, or be patient, or stop fighting and things like that. Yeah. And it helped that I had been in the midst of kids. I had played the role of a mother to a group of people before, so I sort of drew from that to help. And I had to cut my hair. So prior to Riona, yeah, I had a what's this cut? It was tapered. It was a tapered cut initially, but then I just sort of just scraped the whole thing at the back. Yeah. So I had just hair in the middle of my head, and I would just braid that bit. So when I got the call back and we're talking looks and all of that, I was like, oh, this is what I have right now. Right. And they're like, yeah, that will not work because it's an epic, and we can't be particular about the angles we are shooting you from. We should be able to shoot you from any angle and not be, yeah. So like, would you consider taking off your hair? And I was like, okay, I'll do it, because I love the craft. I love acting. I feel like I could do anything. I don't know, but maybe when that time comes. But yeah, I always felt like I would make the sacrifice. So when they asked the question, I really didn't think so much about it, and I said, yes, I'll cut my hair. Yeah. And people were like, are they paying you so much? How much are they paying you? I'm just like, it's not about that for me alone. I mean, there's that, but it's the dedication to it. And it also helped because I looked different. So it helped transform me more into being a Bieshua than just Ore Badmus, because I looked different, absolutely different. My hair was really low to match the one at the back, so I just looked really different, and it helped in terms of characterization. Yeah, fun times.
Okay, so as an actress, how do you get yourself to cry? What methods do you employ?
Methods. Let's start from the beginning. I could not cry to save my life. That's when it comes to acting. Then I attended AFRIF acting workshop in 2016, I think. Yeah, so I was accepted to AFRIF in 2016, and then Hilda Dokubo was our facilitator. And you know Hilda.
Yeah.
She's a mother of tears. Right. So that came up sometime in the workshop, and she taught us this technique of how, which is like how would I say, like nature. I don't know if that's the word, but like if you open your eye for a bit, the air outside the eye sort of I don't know, like when it gets into it and you're not blinking, your eye would water, and then combine that with the emotions that you're already setting into motion for yourself. Are you looking at me like if I'm going to cry? Oh God. So after then, and I remember that our project, there was this monologue, so this film, Kramer versus Kramer, I don't know if you know it. So there's this monologue that Meryl Streep did in court. So that was the monologue I chose for my project, and if you've seen it, it was like her eyes were red, and and I remember, oh gosh, the dedication, back to this dedication. I wanted to just look, I didn't want to just give the emotion, I wanted to look distressed, right? So I remember the night before I was going to present, I kept rubbing my eye, I kept poking my eye so that it would just look like something was wrong. So when you even see me, you already know that something's wrong with me, right? So that technique helped me, and it got so, I don't know if I should say so bad or so good, that I could just look at you and tears would just come from that technique, right? But the downside to that for me was, it was like a shortcut, right? I wasn't really feeling the emotions. It was just like, you want me to cry? Okay, I know what to do to cry. But I wasn't really like feeling the emotions. It wasn't the emotions that was getting me to cry. Then over the years, working on myself, working on the craft, I remember so many times on Riona, and then I don't know, but somehow most of the roles that I've played, I've had to cry. Either the character was being raped, or she was retelling a story of rape, and you have to cry. Some sorrow stuff. So it was tears everywhere. But I remember on Riona, like I had tears, and it helped that I couldn't just rely alone on the technique. I had to genuinely feel the emotions, because you have to be there, you have to be in the moment and feel the emotions. And then even if you want to amplify with the technique, it won't just look mechanical, it would just complement it. And so now it's easier for me to cry.
So
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So Riona is a really big production. How many cast and crew members?
A lot.
We're talking more than 100.
Yes, absolutely.
150
plus crew.
Yeah.
Way more than that. Because aside from the main cast, we had day players, and then we had extras. Then it's epic. So we had market scenes, we had war scenes, and where you have to bring in people, and then the writers are always killing off somebody, and when they kill off somebody, they always bring up some other character. So as a whole, I did 3 months on the project. And I know that even when I'm still discussing with my colleagues now, my co-actors, there are some names that they mention. I'm like, oh, what character is that? Oh, what character? Because they keep bringing people. So crew alone, quite a number of people, and then you don't have cast. So yeah, it's quite a big number of people. Yeah, large
how
number
about
of people.
location? Where was it shot?
It was shot somewhere at Lakwe. So it's like a big expanse of land. The set was built from scratch. So all those huts were built from scratch. Bush. I remember when I went for to talk pay and to get to be introduced to the crew and the set. It was raining. We're told from the guests to buy rain boots. Everywhere was muddy. They were not even done building. So you see mud, snakes, scorpions, just really the ghetto thing, and so it was like, we're doing this introduction now for you to decide if this is something that you want to do for a year or for the duration of your contract. So for me, again, which is one of the reasons I love acting, because you get to do things that you would not do on a normal day. You get to experience life from another point of view. And I was like, yes, I don't mind the challenge, I will do it. And they also tried to make it safe enough for actors and crew. So yeah, it was in the middle of nowhere, but it was fun.
Okay, so you have for you as an actor and kind of concentrating on what you want to perform and your craft, how do you handle activities happening on set and possible distractions and all that?
Okay. Okay, so because Riona is it's not like it is a big project, and at a time you're having large number of cast on set. We have the holding place. So if you don't know what you're doing, you can't get carried away, because you have groups of people chit-chatting, different activities going on. We had games, because sometimes we're there, but it's not our time yet. We call it the waiting game. So we usually pass the time by playing Ludo. I miss my Ludo gang. And that was how I learned how to, oh god, my father should not listen to this, because he tried to teach me how to play Ludo, but Riona people were the ones that got me to where I'm a Ludo champion now. So if you're not grounded, if you're not sure, if you don't know what you're doing, you get carried away while you're waiting to be called on set. And some scenes call for more set apart time. I remember there was a scene where I had to cry, really, really cry. They were Shebi, one of the palace guards, was flogging my son. And I had to witness that and just wail and all of that. And I remember that I stayed away. So when it was hours before I was going to be on set, I stayed away from everybody. And I was just in my world. And people would come, are you okay? Are you okay? But those who know, they know what you're doing. They know that you're getting in the zone, so they will not even come. And even sometimes when they come, because we're actors, we switch. So maybe someone is genuinely concerned and say, are you okay? And when she say, they get it, it's like, yeah, oh, okay, that's what she's doing, you know. So if you're not grounded, you might get carried away. For smaller projects, probably because there's a smaller number of people on set, it might not be as distracting, but anything also can be distracting. The process is different for different actors. Some people, their process is be everywhere, gist with the crew, laugh, make people laugh and things like that. And when it's action, they deliver. For some people, like me, and for some certain types of scenes, I have to set myself apart from everybody and just play music and just be in the zone. That's it.
Okay. It's a production with possibly more than 150 people, and in order to kind of make the schedule, get everything done, there's this pressure. It's natural to forget your lines. Has it happened to you, like having to deal with that pressure?
Well, to my credits, not to sound cocky, but to sound cocky, I don't think I really had issues with my lines. So the ADs also help. Once they know that your time is coming up, they cue you, start getting ready, Abishra, get ready, run your lines. But I don't believe that you have to wait for somebody to tell you to run your lines before you know that you have to run your lines, if that's what works for you. But I've also found out that for me, when I overrun my lines, my performance doesn't become authentic. It takes away. Yes, it takes away from. So if I've said this thing over and over and over again, when it's now time to roll, it's like, do you understand? I don't know. And for some people, it's until they've said it so many times before it becomes natural. Like, it just comes easy. They just say it like that. But for me, when I run lines with my co-actors, I also have to try to understand their own process. And also in the same vein, try not to sacrifice my own process for theirs, because what if their own process is to do this over and over and over again, and it helps them get better, but for me it dulls my own performance. So we have to find a balance. So I try to let them know, okay, this is how I roll, this is what works for me, but I'm open to helping to running these lines like 3 times with you. But if you think you want to keep doing it, maybe you could do it with somebody else, and then on set, so then on set, if you happen to forget your lines, you have script supervisor or continuity that would cue you. But like I said in the beginning, I don't really have issues remembering lines. So it's not like an epidemic for me.
For you, you're in this peculiar situation where you're in the industry, but you also have a 9 to 5, and also you moved from Lagos to Abuja.
Okay, we're going there.
How is life as this type of actor?
Heavy, deep sigh. Okay. So, my fellow actors do not blame me for having a 9 to 5. Most of the workshops that I've attended, business of acting, they always tell us, as an actor, you have to have another source of income, because the jobs will not always come. And when they come, you might not be too happy with the pay. So it's either maybe you take the pay that isn't really up to it and supplement with the other income, or you bullshit the pay and say, you know what, I'm not going to go this low. I have something else that would pay my rent, because most times why we take some of these jobs is because there's nothing coming from somewhere else. So like, you know what, bad as bad, let me just do this. But then the downside to having a 9 to 5 is that you're not readily available. Nobody can call you and say, oh, show up here, and you are there in the instant. You have to think of, oh, how do I take permission? And then I don't know if it helped or didn't help that I was in a school. Initially, I couldn't combine it. I didn't see how I could combine it. And I wasn't even brazen enough to approach the management of the school to say, hey, this is something else that I do. I would like time off for this. So for like 2 years, I was just all about the school. And then if I even wanted to do anything on the side in terms of acting, it had to be it doesn't have, like, it wouldn't be within school hours, right? But then I think my 3rd year at the school, I started getting unhappy and, dissatisfied. Yeah. And I did a film with Biodun Stephen. I acted in one of her films, All Shades of Wrong, with Bimbo Ademoye and Femi Jacobs. And when it came out on Rock and Iroko, my director of studies saw me on TV. A couple of teachers saw me on TV. They watched it. So before I knew it, the news had gone around the school, like, oh, Miss Badmus is on TV, Miss Badmus is this, Miss Badmus is that. I started getting calls, and then my director of studies was like, oh, Badmus, why didn't you tell me that you do this, And I was just like, yeah. And from then, it was like, just, if you're doing these things, it's a plus. It's a plus to us as a school as well, because then we're like, oh, we have a teacher who does this outside, and it also helps that I'm teaching drama, so I can borrow from industry knowledge to impact the children. So we then sort of worked out an arrangement where if I had stuff to do in film, I had to just give them ample time and then rework my timetable. So I was doing Monday to Friday, but I necessarily didn't have to do Monday to Friday. But you know how employers are. They just want to keep you there, So I could find a way to move my classes around and still go for stuff. And most of the gigs I was getting were plays or musicals. And plays, you have to go for rehearsals and all of that. So it was time consuming, but I found favor, in the eye of management. They were open to it. And I'm forever grateful for that, that they afforded me the opportunity to be able to combine both worlds. Not as much as I would have loved, but it was still something, And then I remember there was a time I went to shoot. I was gone for a week. Like, I was gone for a week, from work. I had a shoot with Jadi Osiberu was executive producing. Odenike was directing. And when I got back to work, my director of studies, who's now the head of school, she said something to me. She was like, that I came back, I left a certain way and I came back different. Like, she could see that I was happy, I had life, like, so she was like, I want this Badmus. So if this is what it will take, to get you like this, because I know that the energy with which you teach the kids will be different, then I would, try to make this more possible for you to go do what you love and then come back and do this, So I felt really alive. Not that I don't feel alive when I teach, I do, but it's always different, right? So it's not been easy. I've lost a couple of gigs because of availability issues. And also because once people know, our industry is very funny. Once they know that you have a job, they just sort of write you off. Nobody's willing to now then further the communication to ask, okay, can you fit it into your schedule? Sometimes you go for auditions, on the form they ask you, are you doing something else? I always feel like that's like a trick question, because the moment you say, oh, I'm on another set, or I'm connected to something, or I have a 9 to 5, they're just So even if I have to be honest, so I say yes, but very flexible. So that if you want me, I am available, I will show up. Now that was Lagos. Moving to Abuja for another job. Let's just say that, acting hasn't really been, I knew this was going to happen. I knew that coming. Abuja isn't the acting capital of Nollywood or anything close to it. But I've heard that there are pockets of filmmakers here. doing things. And I've also heard that a couple of filmmakers from Lagos are moving to Abuja, because shooting in Abuja is way less stressful than shooting in Lagos.
Yeah.
There's nobody hassling you per se for this and that, especially if you have outdoor shoots. My acting career hasn't been great at all. I've done a couple of auditions. I auditioned for Sele, guys. I did not make the cut, but it's okay.
Yeah,
It's all right. No problem.
so
There's hope. So yes, the acting front hasn't been forthcoming, but I've auditioned. I mean, I'm open to traveling to Lagos. Like right now, it's even great because now auditions are virtual. Just send the self tape, and if you make it, but somehow people just block. Like once they know that, alright, she has moved to Abuja, nobody cares if you can make it work.
yeah,
I was still chatting if a producer friend of mine up. I was like, I'm available for. I was like, but you're in Abuja now. I was like, but who said I can't come to Lagos?
yeah,
I can come to Lagos. The actors here. There's an actor that lives in Abuja that we worked on Riona together. You know, I can come to Lagos. It's just that now, I would be stricter with my screening process, the roles I take, the projects I go on, the pay. You know, do you understand? I'm still upcoming. You know, so yeah, that's that. And now I'm not as pressed to just take anything that comes my way, because financially I'm a bit I'm not sorted. Let me not say I'm sorted. I'm not sorted though. I'm not sorted, but you know, I'm not pressed to just take on any job because I'm trying to. Because in Lagos, she's like, let's do that. You know, here I'm a bit cool, so I can I don't need to do that. I would like to do that, but the opportunity hasn't come yet. Our industry, people just write you off like this. So, but I'm still putting out the word. I'm available for work. Available for work in Abuja as well. I've done a couple of auditions. Fingers crossed for what the future holds. So, acting for now isn't that thriving. Yeah.
I guess there are very few people that pull off having a 9 to 5 and acting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you think you're doing?
I don't know if I'm doing great. I feel like I'm selling out on my dreams. And this is not just peculiar to acting. This is like the whole production works, right? Sometimes it feels like I'm not consistent. It feels like when something is picking up, that's when I get pulled into another 9 to 5 gig. Sometimes I feel like I'm quitting. Sometimes it feels like I'm giving up. You know, I mean, I have colleagues that's all they do. But maybe I like money too much. I don't know, you know, but I'm very particular about financial security. So I think that has just always informed my decision. But emotionally, mentally, it feels like I'm a sellout on my dreams. It feels like I'm not patient enough. It feels like I keep breaking the flow. And just maybe when something is about to happen for me, I then take a job, you know, because I remember with Riona, and shortly afterwards, this job that brought me to Abuja came up, and you know, and it did feel like I was at the brink of something, right? I felt like Riona was like the project that was going to, like, you know, push me out there more. Not like the breakthrough project, but like something that will push me there out more, and I would, you know, be called more and whatnot. And yes, I did get a couple of, you know, gigs before I moved, you know, but it still felt like, Ore, are you sure you're doing the right thing? Like, maybe stay back. You know, maybe this is the time things would really pick up. And I watched my friends who were on Riona together and how they are doing now. you know, the projects that they are on, the productions that they are doing, you know, some more than the others, you know, and sometimes I feel really sad and I feel like that could be me. But the thing is, I would never know. What if my story is not like that? What if I stayed back and I'm not getting jobs as frequent as they are? Because there are also some of us who are not getting as much as the others. But I find myself comparing myself to my colleagues and friends who we started off, you know. I mean, I said Timini played my brother on Tinsel. Look at Timini now. Sometimes I'm like, or what if you are just stuck to this and just hustle it out, you know, where would you be now? And even still, sometimes, even with times when I say, you know what, I want to just face this acting head on, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm tired of this life. Let me just go make money in the corporate world and come back, you know. So yes, it gets overwhelming also. It feels like I'm doing so many things at the same time. And it feels, you know, when, you know, people say that when you're trying to grasp at so many things, you end up not having anything at all, you know. So sometimes I feel like that. I feel so overwhelmed, like, what am I doing? You know, sometimes I don't even know, like, I'm in a place in my life right now where I'm just like, what's the next step? What's the next thing for me? Really, like, what am I going to do in my life? Where I am I sure I want to remain in Abuja? Do I want to go back to Lagos? And do what? There's still that fear of how will I survive, which, you know, I hustle. I mean, aside from my 9 to 5, I do other businesses, just to make ends meet and still live this baby girl life. You know, it's a tough one. And also because I don't have full control of my time. I work for someone, so they dictate. If I was like fully freelance, I guess it would be easier. You know, if maybe I was consulting or something, I guess it would be easier. But because, you know, my time is dictated or is being paid for by another body, you know, it also doesn't help, you know. But in terms of fulfillment, I don't think I'm fulfilled, you know. And I also don't know if I would be. I also don't think, because I've had times in my life where that was all I was doing, acting, right? But that was like years ago. I also did not feel fulfilled because financial security was a big thing for me. So what I'm now trying to do is trying to see if I can eat my cake and have it, I don't know, or just merge both. And even in the corporate world, I still do creative stuff. So I try as much as possible to still find an avenue to do something that speaks to my soul, regardless of what job I'm doing at the time, and just sort of make up for it. And I'm grateful for the people that I have around me who speak life to me and tell me, hey, everybody's path is different, you know. There's this friend of mine, Tokwe Holoni, and she was telling me how, because she also has I won't say 9 to 5, she's a presenter on TVC, you know, so she also has to combine that with acting and all of that. So she was telling me one time I was feeling really down, and she was like, hey, you know, look at Mo Apudu, you know. She also like went off for a while and, you know, did this and that, and now she's back into this business and she's paying her mates, you know. You never really know, maybe this producing thing might be the thing that would, you know, bring you back, and we that we're acting now, you might be our executive producer, you know. So, but for some reason I've just I mean, was it, I tweeted sometime, I was like, no matter what I do, I would always be a performer at heart. So even if I fully transition into producing, directing and whatnot, I mean, I have like James Amokwe, my mentor, he was an actor on Tinsel. When I found out, I was like, what? You know, but now he's fully into producing and directing. But I know myself, I would always, because there's just this rush I feel when I perform. So I know that no matter what I do in my life, I would always be a performer at heart. So, yeah, that's it.
I mean, like, I think, people's paths are different. some people it's the direct path, from project to something else.
Mm-hmm.
I feel when the time is right, you kind of know. Like for me, I took the route of quitting the 9 to 5. I'm fully in this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, while waiting, to
For
blow.
waiting to blow. I like that. That sounds like a title
but
of something.
It's just to keep putting stuff out, and one of it will.
Mm-hmm.
Catch
I mean,
fire.
I don't have any backup plan. I don't have anybody backing me. Like, I'm literally out here in the wild by myself. So, like, when I'm making some decisions, there's some things that inform, my decision to try to combine 9 to 5, get the money, and I have a couple of dependents. So those are the things that inform my decision. But I know that at some point, when push comes to shove, I just know that at some point I will just fully transition. But also I know myself. I know myself. I don't think I will fully just do one thing. So it would never be full 9 to 5 or full production. Even if I was doing full production, I will still do other things.
Yeah.
So it's just trying to find a balance, if I could ever find a balance, and I always want more.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So you also mentioned that you have started transitioning a bit to the production side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you produced recently?
That question, what have you produced? What have I produced recently? Okay, so last year, just before the lockdown, I produced a one-woman play. I was the cast. I produced a one-woman play which showed at Lagos Theatre Festival. Then the year before, 2019, I produced a short film called Voice Note. Still in post. People should not judge me. That's how many years after it's still in post. The film is done, but there's just a couple of it's still cooking. There's just a couple of corrections. So 2019, I produced Voice Note, a short film on mental health, co-executive produced with Casey Obiajilu. Then the one-woman play produced. It's called Bra. Produced that for Lagos Theatre Festival, as I said. Co-executive produced with Tokwe Stani. Those are the two projects that I have produced so far. Okay. Yep.
And what is something you're working on
currently? Okay, so I'm working on a poetry collection. So I do poetry as well, spoken word. In 2019, I had a friend, Jennifer. We attended the same church. So she had a conference for International Women's Day. So she was looking for someone to do like a monologue theme, spoken word theme, and she thought of me, and she's like, all right, you can do it. I'm like, oh, okay. Prior to that, I had just written maybe 1 or 2 things for church and directed church plays. So she was like, yes, you can do it. So I wrote something, performed it at the conference, and people loved it. Shared it with my mentor, and then I kept writing more. And I was like, hey, you can make this into a series, create content, which also had to do. Okay, so I produced that as well, shot it myself with my phone. I was the actor of the whatnot. So it was like, in the spirit of producing, transitioning into producing content, doing your own stuff, creating your own platform. Why don't you kick off with this? It's quite viable. Like, you don't need so many resources to get this off the ground. So I wrote more. I wrote more than 10, but 10 made the cut for the series, and I was posting on my IGTV every week. So after that, And then I was like, okay, what's next? Then I started writing more, and I'm like, okay, why not just work on a collection of your poems? I don't know if I'm gonna shoot. I don't think I'm gonna shoot visuals for all of them, because my target is 50. I have about 30 so far. And in Abuja, I recently performed 2 of them at an open mic thing, and it felt really great. So I'm working on that. Then recently started looking at a script I wrote last year, a short film script I wrote last year around miscarriage and whatnot, and see, production work is not easy. Thinking about the money, like, where will I even get the money from? You know, and now I'm in Abuja, like, in terms of human resources, it's really limited. So even if I want to call in favors, who do I call for the favors? So still looking at that. So I and my friend Tumishe were reworking the script. We are also thinking of doing like a mini docu to add to it, and we're going to apply for a grant, but then we got to a point and we saw that they said it's been on hold because of COVID. So that's about what's, personal projects. And I'm particularly not happy that it's been 6 months and I haven't like put out any personal work, and it sort of affects my happiness level, because I attach joy to creating. I've done creative work, but it's like for hire, for other people. I've done a lot of writing, for corporate documentaries and things like that, ads, but like my own thing that I'm putting out, like, oh, this is my project, this is, that hasn't happened. But I guess seasons, right? Yeah.
I mean, seasons, life is in waves. Right now, acting is not that encouraging, but let's say it gets better. Like, what kind of roles are you looking out for?
Well, roles that when I watch myself, I won't be able to recognize myself. Roles that take me out of my comfort zone. Roles that, because what's the essence of acting if I'm still going to look like myself, if I'm going to sound like myself? I want roles that, even from the physical, I'm looking different, right? Like I said, for Riona, I had to cut my hair. The costume, of course, transformed us. For the film I did with Odenike, the Odenike directed and Jadi produced, I had to play two characters, because there was like a body switch, a spirit or soul switch. So I had to act as one person A, and then at the time of the switch act as person B, but person A in person B. So it was challenging, because I had to keep and not keep the same mannerisms. I had to learn the other actors' mannerisms, right? So roles that would challenge me, roles that would transform me from the physical, and then we go into the inner deep stuff. Maybe less of the crying stuff. But if that's it, okay, cool stuff. Maybe a lover girl role, I wouldn't mind. I don't think I've played that.
Okay, so let's say you were stuck on an island.
Oh my god, Sally.
And you had to choose one film or TV series to keep watching over and over again.
Oh.
Which one would that be? Wait, what do you think I was going to say?
No, you know how they say, oh, if you're stuck on an island, you only have opportunity to pick 3 things with you, all those. So I thought that was what you were going to say.
Okay.
So it's funny, right? I'm not big on watching films, or I'm more of a reader. I would choose a book, well, not just any book. I would choose a fiction book over a film. It's weird, but but if if I did have to, that's the thing. I'm not particularly attached to any film, so I really don't know. I really can't say.
So for the purpose of this your episode,
Mm-hmm.
you can choose a book.
A book. A book.
I thought it would be easy.
Yeah, so the thing about me is I mostly can't remember titles and names. So even if like I could have seen a film and I'm like, you're describing me, like, I can't remember the title, but I can tell you what happened, or I might not even remember, but I know I watched it, right? So for books, so I know that growing up I read a lot of books. So maybe one of the books, A Man of the People.
Who wrote it?
Chinua Achebe. And I say that because that book and Things Fall Apart were like one of the literature works that I read growing up. I was very young. I'm an only child, so I didn't have people around me. So I was mostly at home alone. And when I was looking for entertainment, I would just, pick up my dad's books and novels and just read and read and read and read, So those two books stood out for me. They sort of shaped, amidst all the other novels I read that my dad would also buy, but those two books really, really helped and shaped my reading culture. So, but I'll particularly say Man of the People because for some reason, I see it so vividly in my head. The name, that.
Okay. So as a creative, as a producer, actor, like, who are your top 3 influences?
As a creative producer, actor.
Yeah, like just you draw a lot of inspiration from those
them.
Particular people.
Well, I mean, without thinking so much, the two people who supported me so much through this journey, James Omokwe, Victor Sanchez Egawa, Victor in terms of career path and writing, which is something I just remembered I wanted to to touch on. Most of my life, so back in the day I used to sing, I used to compose and all of that, and I would also write stories, but I just did not. I'm lazy. I'm a lazy hard worker. I don't know how that works, but I am a lazy hard worker. So once I'm writing more than a page, guys, I am done. Like from my handwriting, you will know that this person is tired. So when it came to, I would have the stories in my head, but when it came to putting it down, writing, no, count me out. But last year, I started writing, like full on writing. I started by writing eroticas. So yeah, I have a couple of eroticas out there. I have 2. They're in series, right? So when I first, it started as one of my friends said she wrote something. I read it. I was like, okay, all right, you can do this. Just give it a try. So I wrote the first one. It was supposed to just be a short story, and that was that. And then I remember putting it on Twitter. I was like, oh, I'm writing an erotica in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And when I was done, I was like, oh, I'm done. But I didn't know how to share with people. Then a friend was like, oh, why don't you publish on Medium? And then, oh, this is how it works. I'm like, okay, cool. So I published on Medium, put the link on Twitter. Until date, that still has like the highest number of readers. About 400 and something readers. And people are like, no, this story cannot end here. You have to keep writing. We want more. And for me, it wasn't just about the erotica, the sex and whatnot. My characters had a story. There was a story. So it's just like romance, but it's just that I'm more vivid with how I describe the romantic situations and all of that. So I found myself writing, I think, 6 or 7 episodes for Throuple. It's called Throuple. And then like I would have my friends who send me feedback of screenshots of what their friends are saying, and they're either cussing me out or abusing me or saying, or begging me to not do this to a particular character. And it felt really good. Like I had never, even with acting, I don't think I felt that sort of gratification, and I understand how some people prefer TV over film, because TV is like every day people are timing themselves to sit in front of the TV to catch up with their favorite characters, which they are part of their lives, So I felt really good about that, and I kept writing more. I didn't even know I could do it. I kept writing more, and then I ended the series, and then I got another gig to write a children's animation show for Iroko.
Yeah.
And that one I was just like, I don't know where to start from. What?
I say you have range.
I have range, you're the second person telling me this today. I do have range. Actually, yes, I agree. So that one I was like, I have never written. I mean, the only, if you see my portfolio is an erotica, and it's not even in screenplay format, it's prose. So I don't know how to then do this. I mean, prior to that, I had written 2 screenplays. One was 2 pages or 1 page, it was for a competition, and it got in. Then the second one was A Major, which is the miscarriage one that I said I'm reworking now, and it was 5 pages. So I'm just like, how? And I'm supposed to write up to 10, 15 pages. I'm like, how do I do this? And the producer was like, I trust you, Ore. You can do it. Here's a sample. Run with it. And I ended up writing 18 episodes of the show. And I remember that, and I was in a weird place because I had issues in my apartment. It was flooding, but and I also didn't want to let the person down, I didn't want to let myself down. It was a challenge. I was like, you can do this. And I remember that I would submit my 2 episodes every week, way before it was supposed to come in. And then at some point I was now getting bored and tired, because it was like they were not ending. I kept writing. I was like, when am I going to stop writing? And then I was like, you know what, just increase the number of episodes you churn out per week. So I started writing 3 episodes in a week, just so that I could just finish on time, because I lose interest easily. So I ended up writing 18 episodes of the show. So that for me was like, okay. And I remember speaking to Victor Sanchez, and it was like, okay, seems like you have something. Do you want to do something about it? If yes, then okay. So what he then did was and I would forever ever be grateful, he paid for my internet subscription for 6 months so that I could just go online and just read up and get to work about writing and all of that, and story work, most importantly story work and all of that. And I also spoke to a couple of writers, Fifi, who's the head writer on Riona, spoke to her, Bori. They sent me resources, and I just put my head down and just was doing the work for writing. It's still a love-hate relationship. If you say, Ore, come and write, I'm like, oh my God. But when I do sit down to do it, I would do it. But I'd rather not write, but I have it. I have the range, right? So so writing is something that recently happened to me. And writing, surprisingly, is what's paying my bills now. Coming to Abuja, that's all aside from my 9 to 5, which is also writing work and storytelling. I've done a lot of freelancing gigs writing. I've done a lot of writing this year, so it's very interesting how that, because I didn't see it coming. But here we are.
Great stuff.
Thank you.
So Nollywood, there's a lot of room for improvement.
Oh God.
What do you think is a top priority for you?
I think structure of everything, from actor's point of view, compensation. There's no, it's whatever you're going to get paid is subject to the production.
Yeah.
There's no universal payment structure or compensation structure or whatnot. Then also things like royalties, you know, they need to become normalized. You know, you see people on big shows, actors on big shows, they're done with the show, but the show keeps running. Some of these shows get dubbed into other languages, but the actor has been paid and be paid off one-off payment, and they're not able to feed off or get from the what's the word now, the success of the film going forward, you know. So they are done on the project, but this project is still going on in other countries. The producers are still milking it, you know, selling it to different platforms and all of that film market and whatnot. And you know, the actor has just taken their own payment and did that, you know. And we need to think of the future as opposed to just now. Which is why most actors do other things aside from acting, because to blow from acting is like, you know, even most of the successful actors we see now, the bulk of the money is come from endorsements and whatnot. But it's getting better, you know, it's getting better. Also, due to your management, if you guys can really negotiate. But yes, the structure for actors, compensation, shady auditions, yeah.
What's your story?
My
auditions.
Oh, Surulere auditions, eh? If you're an actor in Lagos, you know about Surulere auditions. Oh my God. There was one where the PM was so disrespectful. What? We're under the sun and this fellow was just talking to us anyhow, you know. We suffered, sha. I know producers say actors have attitude, they give issues and whatnot. Yes, I agree, there are some actors like that, you know. But I also feel like that should not just dictate the overall treatment of actors. Yeah. I also feel that theater actors should be given more recognition. There is like little to no recognition in that field, you know, in theater. So I think that should be looked into as well. Distribution plays a lot of work. Like it sort of like dictates, you know, every other thing that comes, you know, below it, right? So I think there's a lot of work to be done in distribution as well. So yeah.
Okay. So how can people keep up with your work?
Well, you can follow me on Instagram. I constantly share projects that I'm working on Instagram at the Ore Badmus. On Twitter, my personality on Twitter, well, it's fine. You can follow me, Sha. It's okay. At the Ore Badmus _.
Where are you tweeting from?
Where am I tweeting from? I'm tweeting from my VPN. Where is it? Oh, Canada. I'm tweeting from Canada. Yeah. You could also read up on my erotica on Medium. Just search for Ore Badmus on Medium. My eroticas are there. I have a couple of poems there as well. Yeah, so for now, that's how you can keep up with me. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Ore, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Sele. This was nice to talk about film.
Yeah,
yay. Yeah. Thank you.
We have come to the end of this episode. Please remember to leave a rating and a review. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at SeleGoFilm, and the podcast also on Instagram and Twitter at the Naija Film Pod. See you on the next episode. Have a good one.